You know, it's not every day that you get to see a freaky scorpion or horse lizard human hybrid, but these servants of the Dark Prince are here today to bring the pain in the name of Slaanesh. And welcome to my first Warhammer 3 replay, guys. I am Sir Agamond, of course, as we will be seeing a Slaanesh versus Kislev gameplay. Supreme Patriarch of the Great Orthodoxy looking absolutely badass with his warbear riders, Kislev behind him, and just look at the sheer determination, ferocity, and raw Chad power that this man is emanating. I mean, it doesn't get any more heavy metal than riding a bear into battle with a giant mace in the other. I will be fighting off against a Stellan today in this domination battle as I bring a Herald of Slaanesh along with Fiends, a couple of Marauders of Slaanesh with spears, some Daemonettes, and some Seeker Chariots. I am kitted out with a... let's see, what do we have here? I'm still getting used to all of the abilities, but Pavane of Slaanesh, Acquiescence, the Portal Glyph, and Locus of Grace. Thought I brought Shivering Shards, I believe it is called, but I guess I actually did not. Pretty cheap and cost-effective loadout. My opponent will be bringing, of course, Kislev with pretty much all of the prayers here. He does come with, he does have Ursun's Ward, Frenzy, By Our Blood, Immune to Psychology. Did he actually bring any of the prayers? Here we go. Taurus Battle Hymn, plus 40 melee attack and a radius around him. Soliak's Lullaby replenishes hit points around him. Quite a lot, actually. Very powerful. And Dodge's Song of Winter Sunlight. So I believe he's actually fully kitted out here. And of course, in domination mode, you do want to outcapture your opponent and get more tickets than them. But positioning is very key. We can bring in some reinforcements. I already have some Chaos Furies on the way, as my opponent does summon in some Kosovite Dervishes, and he does have a unit of Khazars with spears hidden amongst the trees there. I am going to posse up. He has formed a defensive position here with his winged lancers, and for now, we're just going to bide our time. The points don't open up for another minute, so we are simply just going to get into a favorable position and find the right time to engage. Because with Slaanesh, you do not want to fight head-on. Fighting head-on is absolute death. It is bad for you. You want to really make use of being able to pinpoint your opponent and strategically target them in their weak spots. So by that, find a guy who's alone, hit him from the front, and hit him from the rear at the same time. If you're not doing the Eiffel Tower maneuver with Slaanesh, you are doing it wrong. I will catch my opponent's Snow Leopard out here in the trees, and as well as his Khazars with spears, so I will take the initiative to begin the battle. Charging the Snow Leopard, a big charge goes in, does a ton of damage to that Snow Leopard right on the first hit, as we do summon in some Chaos Furies to help keep the Khazars from firing at us, because we are very, very squishy. The Snow Leopard is going to retreat. As my opponent does bring in a second Snow Leopard, he will be able to support, and they can do some serious damage to the Seeker Chariots, but they are mostly meant to be a distraction. But at the same time, we are posing up for an engagement against Kislev and his forces. He does have a load of Khazars with bows, and due to our light arm, he can do a lot of damage to us. We will commit to the fight, though. Chaos Furies will dive down onto the Khazars. Spearmen will get a charge on the Warbears. Not often that you'll see something like this happen, but these Marauders of Slaanesh with twisted spear arms will do okay damage against the bears, but they will withdraw to target the Chaos Furies. But at the same time, we will capture the center objective. My opponent is making a push for Objective 3, and we are still fighting over here within the trees. We can get through all of these trees. Look at that nasty work that the Fiends are able to do. Alongside the Chaos Furies, these Snow Leopards and Khazars have no chance. Heading back to the main fight, though, it is becoming quite a bloodbath. Daemonettes of Slaanesh did follow up against the Khazars, but as you can see, our Marauders are already wavering. Of course, the presence of bears and Khazars is enough to drive many a weakling servant of chaos away, but the Seeker Chariots coming from behind with the steel chair will engage right behind the Khazars and do a decent amount of damage. They're a little bit underperforming. As you can see in the background, I did bring in the Heart Seekers, a very powerful and elite unit of Slaanesh. 46 melee attack, 40 melee defense, 46 weapon strength, with a decent charge of 46, but if they can get a rear charge, that actually doubles to, what is that, 92 or so? Which can mean a huge amount of damage. And you see the pitched engagement in the middle is pretty much going, it's a stalemate for now. We do have some fiends nearby with the sulfuric must, which will debuff our enemy, but I am really trying to get this herald to kill Kislev, but he is just keeping everyone buffed up right now. He is debuffed, and he is surrounded, but he is still fighting amongst his own forces. He will do a lot of damage on that bear, but we can also do a lot of damage to him, being that he is a large target. We will summon in a unit of Daemonettes of Slaanesh to keep the Kosovite dervishes at bay, as some of the Heartseekers do manage to actually get a rear charge on the Khazars. Now, these Khazars do have spears, they do have anti-large, and okay melee defense, and being that all of Slaanesh is very squishy, even their low armor-piercing damage will still apply a load of hurt to us, but that is exactly what we are all about. Pain and pleasure. And as we can see, Kislev, unbreakable for now. He is not routing, but he is getting dangerously low on health, down to only 1,300, as our Herald of Slaanesh is piling on the pain, but does take a rear charge from a Snow Leopard. Coming from the other side of the map, we did actually eventually lose out on that engagement, as we did pull our Fiends away, so we gave our opponent that map control. Chaos Fury is kind of just hanging out in the air, giving Overwatch. I meant to pull them down a long time ago, but I had my focus in other places. Now, those Daemonettes did their job. They did eventually run out of time, but we are going to bring in the Heartseekers of Slaanesh, kind of getting a last-second charge on the Wing Lancers. They will perform well against the Wing Lancers with their armor-piercing and high melee stats, as we attempt to send the Herald of Slaanesh to chase down Kislev. However, this is the thing, though, as we put into slow motion. Kislev is going to route right into my opponent's reinforcement zone, so he does have Vanguard and the standard reinforcement point. And armored Khazars are already on the way. These badasses have a pistol, actually, in addition to this absolute massive club. Actually, no, these aren't the great weapons. Sorry, they have shields and pistols, which is an amazing combination. I absolutely love it. But one big volley could do a huge amount of damage. They're not too armor-piercing, 7 and 18 base missile damage, but a lot of that will pass through. So if I overextend here with the Herald, we will take a load of damage, and we'll see if they actually get a volley off. They're taking their pistols out. They actually switched to axes. It appears he gave a charge order to save Kislev, and we do not want to be staying in that. We are squishy. Even just against like heavy infantry with axes, we will take damage over time. His troops are getting the Kislevite passive. What is this called, actually? I need to check the name. By our blood, if their leadership is wavering or lower, they become unbreakable for 30 seconds, immune to terror routes and that sort of thing, so they are very prone to staying in combat to the bitter end. My opponent does bring in some light war sleds to try to flank us and shoot at our marauders with spears, but I found these guys to be so incredibly cost effective. They have good melee defense, even good melee attack when they are buffed up. And another summon going on here, I believe, or what was that? Oh yes, the Bavane of Slaanesh does give them Rampage, and they are taking a load of damage over time from both our army ability and the spell, so these dervishes are just getting absolutely just dumpstered on right now. My opponent is doing something smart, though. He's trying to capture the middle objective, as we do have Hellstriders sitting on objective 1, keeping our opponent from having that. Does have some Ring Lancers in the back, but they're going to take a rear charge from the Fiends of Slaanesh, Furies, Daemonettes, and Heartseekers. They are out of this world, and we are safe to capture the third objective. And my opponent is consistently bringing in reinforcement. Kislev did heal quite a bit. We saw earlier he was down to only like, what, 300 health, and now he is back to 1,800, but I believe he is pretty much at the limit of his healing. I think he is out of uses for his healing prayer. He will be fighting to the end in the middle engagement. We are still even on tickets, and my opponent with those light war sleds, they do not find any redemption fighting amongst Hellstriders and Seekers. They are being debuffed as well by the poison, lowering their melee stats and their speed, so there is just no escape. And things are looking very, very good for me and very poor for my opponent. We are able to get a big flank here, sending the Fiends down in a Phallus-type formation, just as Slaanesh would have preferred. And at this point, my opponent doesn't have too much left that's immediately available. He does summon in some more Khazars with spears, but they do take a rear charge from the unit of Heartseekers. They are very tired and down to only a few units, but they will trade. They'll do really good damage on the flank here. And with the Fury support, they should be able to finish off that unit, although they are so weak. Although I may have spoken too early, my opponent does bring in the Dervishes, who can do some solid damage to Heartseekers just because of the lack of armor. No unit of Warslets, I believe. No, Wing Lancers coming in, hitting the Hellstriders and the Seekers, trying to get that last point and just kind of be able to wrap around my forces. But as you can see, the biggest advantage that Slaanesh has is absolute insane mobility. I mean, 100 speed on these Hellstriders. The Wing Lancers only have 71 while they're poisoned. I believe they have like 80 or 85 base. But we can run circles around them all game, and they can't do anything to us. Consultant does finally go down, but I believe at this point our Lord is also... yeah, she is very danger close. Only 1,000 health. And my opponent does throw in the towel there. Decides, you know what, he has had enough of this battle. Now, I shall go ahead and load into another replay that I did, this time against DahvPlays, bringing his Kislev up against my core, this time on the Eye of the North battle map. And this is actually my second game against him. The first game was a victory, and then I had recommended him to try out the Ice Guard, which he was not so sure of, but they actually get quite a bit of value. I do find that this map, as you'll see in a moment, does have a few issues for Slaanesh, and that is just the size of the map. It is the smallest domination map in the game currently, and it'll probably stay that way. And what that means is that it's very easy for a slow faction such as, you know, Nurgle or Kislev or Khorne, relatively slow compared to Slaanesh that is, to hold a defensive position. We are going to bring in the Keeper of Secrets of Shadow Magic, and I absolutely love this unit. He just speaks, you know, pure BDSM beauty. I just love everything that's going on here with this unit. He will, of course, have the Sucker of Souls ability, so if he is able to rout off a unit, he will heal and do damage over time. Feasting on Fear will give him heal once a unit is wavering or already routing from the battlefield. However, because of Kislev's passive, it is actually very difficult to get that to proc. Oftentimes, you might just kill the Kislev unit before they even rout because they will fight to the death. Slaanesh is good at doing damage like that, but having a unit that fights to the death makes it quite difficult. We do bring in some Marauders, summon in some early Chaos Furies, and go with the standard Fiends start. I really love those Fiends. Dav does decide to bring in some Zargard Elite, very powerful, heavily armored warriors with 50 melee defense. These guys will hold the line and do okay damage, but it's mainly their survivability. Also brings Khazars with spears, not a bad pick because of their cavalry. And then the Ice Guard with glaives, 40 melee defense, magic attacks on melee and at range. But I just almost missed it. As you can see, we casted a pendulum, and it took about half the health from the Sargard. Didn't kill any models, and also killed... did it kill any of the Khazars? It actually didn't, but taking them both down to half health is amazing value. That one cast got 665 gold. And currently, Penumbral Pendulum is actually a little bit broken right now. It does full damage across its entire range, which is not how it acted in Warhammer 2. And this I actually got from Dav, so I am trusting his information on that. So currently, it is kind of overperforming. And if you compare it to Warhammer 2, you can definitely see the difference there. I mean, that is insane damage, and it can get even more insane. Some factions, like it seems, can even just one-shot entire units with it, just due to their extra damage bonus. Now, since my opponent has so many missiles and has these shelves he can stand on, we need to go in. As you can see, the Marauders of Slaanesh are already getting weakened by those Ice Guard. We'll charge into the Zargard, see if we can get a couple kills. We'll activate Seductive Glory, give them Rampage, which does work out because they are already damaged by the Pendulum. And then summon in the Demon Nets. With their armor piercing and the debuff melee defense of the Zargard, they just get pretty much crushed really quickly. They still have high defense even with that debuff, and they did get their melee attack buffed also. Their Keeper is going to be in here, try to take out Castalton, but Castalton, an absolute beast, 108 melee attack, 500 damage. We need to pull that out, but at the same time, we get a Penumbral Pendulum on the Khazars with spears, along with a charge from the Fiends of Slaanesh. But as you can see, this whole time, these Ice Guard are going to be free to shoot at whatever they like. pretty much just firing right into our fiends, can fire at whatever they want. I don't have any units that can actually get on them at this time, and that is a problem. I'm trying to capture the center objective, and Seekers of Slaanesh will come in now to dive onto Gestalten. They actually do really solid damage on the charge. They can get a couple hundred damage from just a few hits. Now, Keeper will be trying to rout off a few of these Cassars, but the issue is just that passive. Right as they're about to break, they become unbreakable, and now they are stuck in battle. We are able to get a Demonette summon thanks to our Cultists of Slaanesh, and these Demonettes will be able to crush these Winged Lancers over time. But again, the issue, still these Ice Guard, pretty much uncontested, have 25 kills, 658 damage, and we will just see as the battle progresses how much damage they are able to do. They are constantly targeting our Exalted Keeper, and that is just netting them huge, huge value. Marauders of Slaanesh will trade very well against the Kosovite Dervishes as long as they can stay in melee. But as you can see, he just has a massive gun line here, and we are going to line up a second Penumbral Pendulum. Now, is going to see it in an attempt to move, but it is still too late. That spell goes off very quickly, and these Cassars will still take... Actually, you know, he actually does get his units out just as he needed to, but it still does some damage, so it wasn't completely useless. If that got through all three, I think all those guys would be completely dead. But they're all shooting right now at these Demonettes, and look at them just get absolutely crushed within seconds, just due to all that missile damage. We do this Cultist, she needs to get engaged, but as you can see, as soon as they charge in, Ice Guard do take some damage, but they will be able to crush the Demonettes in melee almost instantly, and they did not have a chance. Keeper Secrets, with its insane speed, is able to run circles around Gestalten, but again, with that unbreakable attribute, we just constantly have units that should be running away, that just stay and stick in the fight. Over here, though, we do have Heartseekers fighting some Cassars. They'll win that battle, but the Winged Lancers will get a counter charge, and they can do some okay damage, but they seem to get stopped a little bit by the Cassars here, so there will be a fight going on there. I need to actually pull out and recharge into the Lancers, but they... Honestly, just saying in combat, they're not going to do terrible, but they're definitely losing a lot of their efficiency. I believe another spell is going off. I'm not sure what exactly that sound was. Yeah, even these Sargot, 4 of them holding out in melee here. I've got way too many units engaged on them. Gestalten is very tired. He's going to be fighting the Spears in melee, and we're going to try to connect to them. Another Penumbral Pendulum goes off. I think that is, what, the 3rd or 4th one? It does huge damage to the Cassars, and then we send the Furies on, and they are pretty much nearly dead. The problem is that it's not really killing models, it's just doing damage to them, so they can still keep their missiles going. And now we will see the Keeper of Secrets fighting Gestalten on his bear. He is very tired, but these Ice Guard are now here, and now in melee, they actually can still do a lot of damage. They're already at 2200 damage value, and they've got very good melee stats, especially when Gestalten buffs them up. I mean, 74 melee attack, 42 melee defense. Weapon strength is pretty decent, actually, with 20 armor piercing. We are going to try to charge in from the side and get that huge charge bonus increase. But again, there are just so many Ice Guard, and they are probably one of the best units Kislev has against Slaanesh, if I had to say. Still in the back, we do have these Heartseekers fighting against the Winged Lancers who are being debuffed. It is a slow grind, but we're going to try to send in some Harpies, and they should be able to flank around the back and then finish off those Lancers. At the same time, we are going to try to work on these Cassars down here. Marauders of Slaanesh charging in. But again, that unbreakable attribute makes it really difficult to chase units off. Because normally, if it was any other unit, they would be terrified. They'd be running away. But they will stand and hold the ground. We have lost the position on the hill. The Marauders with Slaanesh with Spears will hold for now. But eventually, the Ice Guard will be able to get into a good position to start firing again. Already at 83 kills, 2400 damage value. And a big volley is going to go in, mostly missing as we do move out of the way, but a few of those Furies do get hit. And at this point I realize, okay, I need to consolidate my forces. I can't stay in the low ground because if I do, he will just be able to sit on the shelves and shoot me and hold a defensive position. If I decide, okay, we can't give him that missile advantage, we need to run up, we have 2 out of the 3 points, that's really all we need at the end of the day. It's just hold at least 2 of the 3. However, there is a downside to being ahead, is that it will give my opponent Dav more units to actually fight with. Excuse me. Now, we are going to charge the Ice Guard, but on the charge, they don't take much damage. It was a frontal engagement, so not the best choice. And then they will get support from the Wing Lancers and Kislev, buffing up the melee attack by 40. So now 75 attack. Hellstriders with Slaanesh, not doing any damage right now and just getting destroyed by the sheer offensive power that those supported Ice Guard can do. I mean, already at nearly 100 kills, almost 3,000 gold value, and they'll probably get it right here fighting this one unit. We are going to take out this Patriarch, who, after looking now in the battle, doesn't appear to actually have any of the battle hymns, I think. No, we actually didn't bring any of them, so it's kind of just a distraction there. So we're going to try to pull out, see if we can get a snipe on Kislev and take him out at this point in the game. But these Ice Guard are still alive, and that is an issue. We charge in, we're going to activate Seductive Glory, make all of these units basically have to fight in melee, but now here is the issue. I didn't really realize while playing that these did have glaives, so having them in melee now, they're just going to get a bunch of value, 3,000 value already, and this Keeper of Secrets will just slowly get whittled down. Even though they're debuffed, it is not looking good for the Keeper of Secrets. He'll try his best. We are making a comeback in the center though. Harpy's coming down, Daemoness of Slaanesh fighting these unbreakable Wing Lancers. Again, that is the issue, is just that they do not break. And a big reinforcement wave. Dervishes being sent in from the reserve pool, sending in everything that he can. At this point, my Exalted Keeper of Secrets does finally go down to the power of the Patriarch himself. It was a good try, but I find Kislev to be really, really hard to kill. He is really tanky, and he seems just to get stronger the more damage he takes, so it is very hard to get rid of him. But you kind of want to get rid of him because those buffs are so incredibly powerful. They're on a short cooldown. At this point, due to the momentum that Dav now has due to being behind in victory tickets, he is able to send in a large force to contest the middle. And at this point, this is where what you need to do is pull back your forces, hang out near your deployment zone, and just let your opponent cap a bit. Let them basically catch up in tickets so that they are no longer getting more units back than you. You need to play very defensively in the situation and pick your targets accordingly. So Classified Dervishes, there is a large contingent here, and it would be amazing to have a spell to go down on these guys, but alas, our Keeper did go down, and I didn't bring any other spellcaster. So I'm going to keep committing more reinforcements, more Chaos Furies, and more Hellstriders of Slaanesh, but this is an issue because he currently has more on the field than I do, and this is not how Slaanesh wants to fight. You want to kind of use your speed and advantage and not fight in these long prolonged blob fights. And now a spell will go off, and those Daemons just take a ton of damage by that Ice Caster. The late game Frostmaiden is actually going to get a ton of value here, and a lot of Kislev stuff with the slows really does counter a lot of what Slaanesh can provide. Chaos Furies are going to try. These dervishes are running away, but others are standing and fighting, and again, that is the problem. We're going to try to catch Kislev out here because he is alone. Narcissism has been applied, so he cannot move, but he is just going to regenerate in combat here. I actually didn't realize that he has that. Is that Ursun's Ward? Yes, it is. So if he's less than 25% HP, he does actually get hit point regeneration. So I did not realize this until now, actually. And I've been playing a Kislev campaign, and I didn't even realize about that ability. Hellstriders will do okay damage. Like, it's kind of just a stalemate. Like, if I had them completely surrounding him, they'd probably do more damage, but right now they're just fighting him from the front. So you really want to get completely surrounded. And that is just absolutely insane hit point regeneration. He is losing his replenishment, and these guys are going to get very good value here. Already getting more than they're worth, but again, they just can't kill the man. He is a beast. At this point, I pretty much don't have any reserves right now. I've got 1,000 supplies. We're going to bring in another unit of Daemonettes, but the center, it doesn't look too terrible, but here come the reinforcements. Cassars with spears, and we just do not have the mobility or the infantry to deal with them. Light war sleds are going to take out these daemons without any real issue. I mean, it's two giant bears versus one crab-armed lady demon, man demon, both, I guess. And even here, look at that poor ice guard actually got shot by the light war sleds, but still, there are 15 of them alive, and they've gotten 3,600 damage value. I've not been able to kill off that unit. Classified dervishes will go into melee against our Hellstriders, and I believe they aren't able to get their passive anymore. They will finally shatter. We're going to surround Kislev, but look at that. He's just gotten all of his healing. But now with the elite secrets of Slaanesh and him being at his healing cap, we will finally be able to take out the Chad himself. But I do pull out to try to one more charge. I want to get rid of these light war sleds. I don't want to let them get a charge, so we're going to send our units on them. Pull out and then recharge again on Kislev, and he will finally go down. He has fought for so long in this battle, but he could not handle the sheer amount of demon, kangaroo, reptile, velociraptor creatures that we brought in this battle. So things are very close, 4,200 to 4,100. We need to get rid of these war sleds. But in the center is a problem. He's got two Cassars, the Ice Witch is alive, and then he's also still got the Ice Guard, which at this point, they still have ammo, they can still inflict Frostbite, and another unit of light war sleds does come in to join the fray. What we need to do is we need to get these Daemonettes and other units around to flank into the Cassars. So I realize at this point, what I need to do is I need to cap the center or the far side. I need to capture something here. Otherwise, I am going to lose. We are now tied. He's overtaken me. There's only 500 points left. And I realize I don't think I can get to point 3 in time, based on how quickly the tickets are going up for him. But it's very close. I'm going to send in every last unit that I have. We have the cultist, but he does use something very smart here. He uses the ice sheet. I can't move in as fast. I am debuffed by that. And then the Ice Guard in melee will apply Frostbite, and I just will not be able to really, like, I just barely get into this point. But as you can see, 4,600 to 4,700, he is working on capping point 1. It's all or nothing in the middle. But again, here is the bonus of Kislev. They are unbreakable in the darkest hour, and they will hold the line. Ice Witch doing another massive spell, takes away a huge function of those Demonettes' health. And then the bears will come in from behind to seal the deal. I try to get a counter charge on them just to do whatever damage I can. But look at all of that mass, that girth, those bears. These Demonettes have no chance against such reckless naturist power. And the power of 5 dudes sitting in a sled with guns with axes on them. It is heavy metal, so at the very end, it was a well-made attempt, but Dav did finally take the victory there. It was a very close match, and definitely shows the comeback mechanic in action there. It gave Dav the supplies that he needed to pull forth a very large force, even though I had momentum in the early game, and that's Slaanesh's advantage. It is also their folly. If you get too addicted, if you have... See, Slaanesh is the Lord of Excess, so if you are too excessive and you push too much and seek that pleasure in combat and those good engagements, yes, you will beat your opponent at that time, and then they will be able to make a comeback. So you have to be really careful about your points management and not overcommit to long, drawn-out fights. If we take a look at value, Kislev got 3,000 there. The Ice Guard ended up with 3,700, so I think more than... I think they're around 1,000, so it's like triple their value. And a lot of that was from shooting Demonettes and shooting our Keeper of Secrets, who actually got 4,400 damage value from those penumbral pendulums. The Fiends didn't do so well. They did get shot up, fighting spears in melee and the Ice Guard. Zargard, though, even though we took out a lot of their health, they actually made a decent amount of their value back. I think they're around 1,000 or so, too. These Wing Lancers did get around 1,200 damage value, and honestly, the Cassars are very cost-effective in this matchup. If we look at the reinforcements, the Ice Witch got about 1,000 value, but these Bear Sleds, they are chunky, and they will do a lot of damage. The Dervishes weren't too impressive, though. They pretty much got wiped out very quickly. And if we look at our reinforcements, I didn't bring in these guys. I did bring in the Heartseekers, but they cost 1,400, so I only made 200 value on them. Cultist doesn't do too much damage in melee, but their whole utility is to spawn. However, these Seekers did get 2,200 damage value. I believe they were fighting up against Cavalry and the Patriarch himself at the end of the battle. And even these Furies, 1,252. Chaos Furies definitely showing that they are very good in this matchup. But good game to Davin. It was very fun playing with them this day. And honestly, I can't wait for this game to be released for everyone. I am going to be playing a lot of multiplayer. I absolutely love this game mode. So until the next episode, my friends, farewell.